Reason why it's been being held back from you was because abundance or blessing or what have you could not come in while this energy was here, because this leech energy would have also sucked this dry the same way that they sucked your self-confidence, your fruitfulness, your success dry.
Watch them grow, perceive, devote. This is the seed, light the show. Watch them grow.
Hey guys, Princess India here for the 9-9 and the 2000 whatnot or whatever.
You know what I'm saying?
The purpose of this intro is to break down to you everything that I usually say in the beginning of each sign's video, but the intention of it is to cut down on time so we can jump straight into the messages and into the reading. I decided to be really extra and separate this into X.
X number one.
I start with a pick a card. Now, what is the purpose of the pick a card? The purpose of the pick a card is actually the extended reading. So the 3 cards that we pick are actually never really talked about here. I don't want to send everyone over to Vimeo to get an extended that they may not need. So in the event that you watch the YouTube general and you feel that you need a little bit something extra and you decided to pick a card in the very beginning, you would follow me over to Vimeo at the end of the video and you would go by that group that you picked. Act number 2. Right before we get into the cards, usually around the time that I'm shuffling, I give you guys any intuitive messages or visions that I saw for your particular sign. The whole purpose of this is to set your energy and to set your intention and to give you guys a general energy for the month in accordance with whatever comes out with the cards. Act número 3. It's number 3. Act number 3 is just a reading. It's not awkward. So anywho, let's get into your reading. Oh, Aries. My dope-ass North Node, I should have known that you would be the one that would make everything suddenly make sense, being the first zodiac sign and all and whatnot, or whatever, being the trailblazer, the zodiac and whatnot. Aries, let me tell you something. Hopefully you watched the intro. It's about to get real after I pick these cards. So if you haven't already picked card 1, 2, or 3, you know what I'm saying? But you guys' intuitive message. I said with Aquarius it was different. As in the fact that I got an inner knowing with their message. It was no vision. Everybody was visions before then. But with you, Aries, I got a flashback. And it suddenly made the way that my morning transpired today suddenly makes so much sense, Aries. And I'm so grateful for you. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go ahead and pick your 3 cards, and I'm going to hop into you guys' intuitive message because it's about to get real. You know what I'm saying? It's about to get real. So if you picked card number 1, we have trickery. Dun, dun, dun. That is the heart chakra. If you pick card number 2, we have joy, and that is the solar plexus chakra. And if you pick card number 3, we have complacency, and that is the root chakra and whatnot, or whatever. These are 3 vastly different energies, but they all speak of needs being met, which is even more funny. So Aries, let's go ahead and hop right into this. So if you are not a new subscriber and you have been with me since the beginning, it doesn't necessarily have to be the beginning because I am going back to April. Aries season. Where this comes full circle on a myriad of different ways, Aries, is I just came to the realization that it is the astrological influences. I always say that there's one sign that steps out each month that has a reading where the entire collective could benefit from it. The fact that you guys' intuitive message is an intuitive message that I gave 7 months ago in April during Aries season. Those of you who've been with me that long, you would remember the earthquake is what it was called. And it was a vision that I got. So technically y'all get a vision, but it's like a throwback vision. You know what I'm saying? So it was this vision I had of an earthquake And the thing that is so ironic about it is I get up every morning and I meditate, right? But it's like I was getting so many messages, so many downloads this morning that I've literally been taking notes like a crazy person. But after I finished Aquarius, right? And what came out in Aquarius extended, I was like, what in tarnation, right? So literally, I spoke of this 7 months ago, but in another one of my subscribers, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so mad if I can't remember her name. And I can't. I'm so sorry. I love your face. But she was telling me on Instagram how she felt compelled to look at another collective message that I put out about spiritual roaches. And those of you who've been with me for some time, you guys remember that as well. But the thing is that what I have felt is happening on a grand collective scale. Like many talk about us switching into the age of Aquarius and so on and so forth. It's so vastly bigger than that. But just so I don't take up all of your time, Aries, speaking about this on a grander scale, there is a bigger, magnanimous, energetic signature that is hovering over all of humanity at this time, right? Of each of the 12 signs and or tribes, if you will. Not everybody's going to get that, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, but of these 12 signs and or tribes, if you will, each one has a responsibility or a role that they play in the 3D manifestation of this etheric energy signature. And the role that Aries is playing is being the one who ushers in the earthquake. You know what I'm saying? So I've linked the video below this video. I feel if you have Aquarius in your chart anywhere, or, if you're just curious, I would say to watch the Aquarius video. You may get something from it. The real tea did not come out until the extended, which I was literally like mind blown. But the thing that's most important is watch that earthquake message, because I feel for Aries people, it's going to make so much sense. And then the simple fact why I say like the Aquarius reading is important is because it wasn't until the tail end of the Aquarius reading that I started to speak about this. But I started to speak about mountains. And that theme just continued to carry. I was like, why is it that with the whole thing with mountains, I was like, that's so ironic. And then the mountains come out in the cards, and I'm just like, this is so ironic. But this is something I literally started like jotting down after the Aquarius reading. But like I said, not to take up all of your time, that's definitely something that you guys would want to watch. But the little tidbit that I wrote down about how this relates to Aries with the earthquake is earthquakes are symbolic in a metaphysical sense of chaos and confusion. And this is why this is so funny. Our greatest rewards in compensation or divine justice, right, begins as earthquakes, right? So what we're really talking about is divine intervention here. So the signifier that your, divine justice, being vindicated for wrongdoing, the sign that your blessings in a sense are coming, are the earthquakes or the chaos and calamity that manifests in our lives, right? Because it's through the darkness that the dawn comes. So it's a sign and a signifier of a prelude to success, winning, so on and so forth. Whew. There's so much more to that, Aries, and I want to say it out of my mouth, but I'm not, because this is your reading. So anywho, central energy. We have the Five of Pentacles. This is challenged by the Page of Swords. What was it that I wrote down yesterday about this? Yeah, I can. I'm not like I can, but it's what I wrote down about the page. It's like, more or less, it's something that's being initiated with you all. It's more or less you guys feeling the fire under your ass, or the inspiration to take action on an idea or an intuitive hit that you guys have gotten. And I feel with anything that you guys have that you're dealing with in reference to being passed over or taken advantage of or what have you, the igniting factor that is going to put all of these things into motion is you no longer waiting or deciding for someone to rescue you, but you more or less picking yourself up from the bootstraps and taking the initiative to move forward and to act on whatever idea or inspiration it is that you guys have before I feel you can even put your hand to anything to literally manifest it. It's like you just standing and charging forward is that igniting fire that's going to get everything rolling. So fascinating. Past influence, we have the King of Wands. Oh, money. Underlying influence is the Ten of Pentacles. Above energy is the Ten of Swords. And going forward, we have the Five of Swords. Oh, man, this is so funny. Okay, so here's the thing, my wonderful Aries. This is reminding me a great deal of what it is I was seeing for Leo, but for them it was kind of in the reverse. There's a cycle that's ending for you all, but it's more or less this cycle ending is your deliverance. So whatever it is that has fallen away, whatever it is that has ended, whoever it is that left, whatever the case may be, this was an energy that was stifling you, right? And I feel it very well could be financial. I mean, it's abundance in the sense to where it could be like, like literally finances or whatever. But I feel an energy of lack. But I feel the clarity that's going to come with all of this is, and this is going to be weird for me to say it like this, but this is just the most simplistic way I can say it without being extremely like wordy and cumbersome and whatnot, would literally be that you guys aligned with your power, with that trailblazing energy, right? But I feel even you guys sitting in that power, there was still some sense of a delay in getting the gratification for all the work that you've done, right? Whether that's being recognized or having, the fruits of your labor in the sense of like finances, home, whatever. So it began to feel like you were working for nothing. And I feel discouragement comes with that, right? But I feel that whatever it is that's been removed out of your life, it feels like a leech kind of energy. And I mean, this could be a mentality as well, because it could be different for each person. But I feel it's a person or it's people. But it's this thing, entity, person, situation, whatever. This being removed in this cycle ending with this, it's allowing this energy to end and clear out because it was a very imbalanced energy. It was a very challenging, and like how I said, chaos and confusion. That's very much the theme of the energy that I'm seeing here. But it's like as long as this thing was in your space, it was a very oppressive and controlling energy that I feel really sucked out a lot of your life force. You know what I mean? Because for our past influence being this King of Wands and the challenger overcoming being the Page of Swords, we're talking about a whole different suit here, and then we're downgrading levels in a sense, right? So I'm looking at my kings that's mastery energy, right? So energetically, it's being the level of master, so etheric body, right? It's the level of mastery. But in one's mental space, we're the level of a page, right? It's, I think I can. That's what I was saying. I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Like, I'm trying to believe in myself. I'm picking myself up from the bootstraps. What this feels like to me, it's, and why I say oppressive energy, and even seeing the Five of Swords here, it feels very much like a narcissistic one-upmanship kind of energy. Why I say that is because when I say a leech, that's in essence, it's a spiritual transfer that happens between, and you know, we could use our Likert scale of like narcissist and like empath in so many words. So it's you guys being in your power, making you a flame, the narc being the moth that's drawn to the flame, but it's, you know, a leech masquerading as a moth. I don't know. We're not going to get that deep into it. But anyway, but it's more or less someone being drawn to this power and them siphoning your life force from you because they lack that. And I feel that's where this darkness, this chaos and calamity comes from. I do feel like this is more or less, in music, people, please don't judge me because this feels right to me. I'm just going with it like crescendo. It's like the highest point here, the climax, if you will, is what I'm seeing with this Five of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords. And it's more or less as opposed to, I feel it is like almost like a tower moment, I guess you would say. It's like climax happens, everything blows up, hence our earthquake, you know, rock breaks, ground shatters, something that seems so sturdy and stable and immovable in the matter of a second is broken, right? And it's more or less you guys deciding in the midst of this calamity and chaos to pick myself up, and you're willing to start from ground zero, right? You're willing to, your thought isn't even, and it's still this energy signature I'm seeing, what I've talked about in the readings prior to you guys of this whole prodigal son theory. This is so fascinating. I'm loving this. But anywho, it's like you guys being set free from this very bondage, immovable, oppressive energy in your thought. And I say the prodigal son because in that story, you know, the son takes his inheritance, which is hilarious because we got the freaking Ten of Pentacles here. He takes his inheritance, goes out into the world, squanders it. And then when he wakes up amidst pigs, you know, he decides to, you know, humble himself to go back to his father's house, not to be, you know, the heir, but to just be a lowly servant. So he was willing to humble himself to the lowest level, you know, because he realized that he had screwed up. Not inferring that you guys have screwed up, but it's like that's just the energy signatures I'm seeing here. So it's more or less with you guys being set free from this prison, right? This oppressive force. It's like your challenge is more or less like, I think I can, I think I can. The thought isn't like, oh, I went through all this and now I'm going back to, you know, self-mastery and power. It's almost as if you're prostrated in a sense of this experience humbling you in a sense. And it's like, I'm just grateful just to be out and I'm willing to build myself back up. Yet, the thing that I'm seeing with all of this is, with the Ten of Pentacles being the underlying influence, so the influence going on underneath this that you guys aren't seeing, why I say that's an igniting factor once you guys choose to walk away from this is because everything that you guys have been working to acquire, the reason why it's been being held back from you, even though you guys at one point in time were seated in your mastery, was because this abundance or blessing or what have you could not come in while this energy was here, because this leech energy would have also sucked this dry the same way that they sucked your self-confidence, your fruitfulness, your success dry, right? But because of you going through this experience and learning a very vital lesson, right? Learning the power of your mental space, your mind, your perception, how all of these things are of utmost importance in so many words, and how this can either help or hurt you, you know? I feel that's more or less with you guys learning this lesson is how I'm seeing how spirit kind of, what is it that they say? All things work together for the good. It's like I see how spirit made something good out of a bad situation. So it's more or less looking for me something that was like a path you would have stayed on that would have proverbially destroyed you, right? Is actually acting as a catalyst to rebirth you. Because it's almost like a huge part of your development was like chipped off in this process, thus putting you into this state of humility of, I've done the work, but I'm willing to do it again because I'm just thankful to be out of this type of vibe. And it's more or less that's the state one needed to be in order to receive this gift, blessing, payback, whatever you want to look at it as, good karma, dharma, whatever you want to look at it as. But this other leechy kind of energy needed to be removed as well. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1, right? So this is kind of more or less a heads up, because going forward with us having the 5 of Swords, it's like I still feel like it's not completely over per se, but I don't really feel like the battle is so much with another person. I feel like the battle is with yourself. And I feel that that's more in the sense of a similar energy I kind of felt with Aquarius of like, did I make the right decision? Should I have left? Was that really the right thing to do? It's like that's what I really feel the conflict is more or less going to be. And it's bringing my attention to group 1 people with that trickery card. Because the 5 of Swords is a very fear-based energy. And it's very much in alignment with the group 1 card of trickery. It's one having needs and desires that one wants fulfilled, but it's the fear of asking for what one needs. So here's the thing, and this is where this is funny, because now, and I spoke about North nodes with Aquarius. The thing that Spirit is telling me now with this this battle, wow, and the whole codependent narcissist thing, is I'm an Aries North node, so I know this very well. When you're an Aries North node, your South node is in Libra. And the thing is that your, past life, or the energy that you came into this life with, right? Or even if you just want to say your past in this particular life, it was one of playing second fiddle, right? It was codependency, helping other people manifest their visions and ideas and all of this, right? And even if we talk about it in the sense of human design, it's more or less a person who's a generator, right? Being the source for a manifester, which in essence would suck a generator dry, right? And the manifester gets credit for the generator's work. And it's always been that dynamic throughout history, except for up until recently, where there's less manifestors and there's an increase and influx of generators. And if you want to put that energy signature into a context that many are familiar with. We're talking about, like, light workers and, your change agents and, all that good stuff, right? So your star seeds and all that good stuff, right? So that's exactly the dynamic that I'm seeing here. So it's almost more or less the reason why your abundance has been held up to this point, despite all the work that you've been doing, was for you to get all of the leeches out of your space, for you guys to remember who you are, the true authority that you possess, which is stepping into that Aries energy. So, like, in the sense of like nodes, it's more or less you stepping into that trailblazing, self-starter, independent, revolutionary kind of energy, right? And not needing kudos or, yes, it's okay if you do this type of energy in order for you guys to manifest what's within you to get out, in so many words. But it's still coming out, and that's where I feel like the battle that's being waged is between what you're comfortable with and what you know, which is codependency or playing second fiddle of, needing to finagle or, kind of manipulate a little bit to get your needs met because I don't really feel like I deserve to ask for too much type of deal. And I feel that's the battle that's being waged. It's not really so much with another person. So I'm seeing it almost as this final battle between the old self and the new self. But it's almost as if your abundance or the fruit of your labor or the 3D external manifestation of this King of Wands energy, everything that you are, you know what I mean? Like his toolkit, in so many words, that's being held in like a proverbial storehouse in a sense until this battle is over. And once you step into your power, you're able to get your treasure, in so many words. I hope that makes sense, Aries, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it's really looking like for me. And I know that's deep. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that I really feel for the Aries collective is you guys have been playing small. And you were designed and created for so much more, but it's like you're identifying. And I say, like, you don't necessarily have to be an Aries North node, because you guys know with the dice that have no name, I use North and South node a lot of times as like oracles for, your messages or advice or your goals for the month. So I'm using this in an illustrative sense. It's still very relevant, even if, you're just an Aries, Sun, Moon, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that's the dynamic. It's more or less being under the false perception that you should be riding someone else's coattails, right? And it's someone else that's going to be your liaison to stability, security, or whatever. When in truth, the entire time, like the epic realization is the fact, like I say, this leech energy. When you were under the false perception that you were riding their coattails, they were actually riding yours. They were riding your wave. They were riding your creativity. It's like, the recognition they got or the credit that they got was really yours because they were siphoning from you or emulating you, mirroring you, and getting credit for who and what you are, So you're thinking that you're just lucky to be here, right? And this person tolerates me, but it's like they're lucky that you ever tolerated them for as long as you have, in whatever context that is. Because I'm saying them like personified, but this could literally be a company or a situation, circumstance, whatever. You know what I mean? But it's having an awakening and a realization of who and what you are, in so many words. So it's a re-identification and a transmutation, which is a theme that keeps showing up this month. So the only conflict that I see with you guys going forward is within your own head. But I'm not really so much concerned about that because what's for you is for you. But this is just a process that you guys need to go through so that chaos and calamity before the sun comes out again. You know what I'm saying? Sure, anyway, we're going to go ahead and throw the dice of resonance so you can ask a yes or no question if you like, Aries. And what's not for whatever. These readings are so fascinating. I'm loving it. Loving every minute of it. Okay, the answer to your question is no. We have crush, we have Capricorn, we have Aries and Sun. So no, Aries, Capricorn, crush, and Sun. And where are the dice that have no name? Sorry. This is very fascinating. I dig it. All right, we have Gemini. We have 11, which is funny because Gemini next to this 11 looks like 1111. What happened on that day for you? I'm just saying, I don't know. Moving right along. And what planet is that? Planet. Uranus. Oh, how fascinating, Uranus, that you appear. I'm just saying. You guys may want to watch that Taurus reading too. But anywho, so for Uranus, it says, golden aura, Christ consciousness, agape love. Oh, this is so fascinating. You're being challenged to become more than human. A call for change and growth in our consciousness. Your motivations are shifting from personal to spiritual. The pilot of your soul's evolutionary driver desire is attracting outer events and situations into your life that reflect the inner needs. These provide the stepping stones for your spiritual growth. Mental understanding of the higher planes of consciousness. Intuitive intellectualism. That's a word that I made up that I think is really dope and kind of describes how I am. You know what I'm saying? It's like birthing all this etheric knowledge into very practical 3D sword-like stuff. You know what I'm saying and what's not, or whatever. Moving right along. Realization that you are a walking miracle. Spirit in bone. Heaven on earth. A walking paradox. Applying practical methods to intuitive wisdom. Little catalyst and what's not, or whatever. Know what I'm saying? Moving right along. So we have the number 11. So your two major arcana for the month. Oh, hilarious. It's the High Priestess and Justice. I like to believe that the High Priestess is who sits behind justice. And that is the reason why judgment is always so on par, is because it's executed from a place of higher divine wisdom. You know, all knowing, all seeing, all being type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, moving right along. Where are you manifesting from? That is of utmost importance. Are we manifesting from our fears or from love, from the higher mind or the lower mind? Because what you fear, you believe. Your belief gives those fears life. And thus what you believe is what you think. What you think, you become. This is how we self-sabotage. This is how we birth things into life. That's how, you know, a lot of times when we say like our external world mirrors our inner world, and it's like, why on earth would I want to do all these terrible things to myself? And it's more or less because we can give things life through our thoughts. We feed them. And that's why it's so important to have dominion over your mindset, because your mind becomes a portal and a gateway. Your mouth ends up becoming the portal for manifestation, where you can bring things from the unknown into the known. Because I often say that words are nothing more than spirit encased in sound. And we live in the realm of vibration, right? This is where things come into form. So every time you speak, you're birthing something into form. You are the only catalyst that brings inspiration and ideas and intuition into this realm. So you're birthing every time you speak. So it's a need to be cognizant of what you're speaking over your life, what you're speaking over others, because all of that ends up becoming a trail that leads back to our beliefs, and whether or not, and we could say this in the sense of this Gemini energy too, like I talked about with Aquarius, if we align Gemini with the Lover's card as an archetype, and we talk about head or heart decision, we're really talking about fear-based, right? And love-based, and love being synonymous not with romantic love, but agape love. So that highest vibration, ego being the lowest. So the two sides of the sword, light and dark, the higher mind, the lower mind. And that's really what I feel like this battle you guys have going on that's, existing within is what that's really about. Is the purpose of it is for you to get clear of where is it that you're manifesting from? What you're thinking, what you're believing. How much of what it is that you believe that's based in fears? How much of it is based in truth? What is truth? Does that even exist? These are all existential questions that Aries will be asking themselves. You know what I'm saying? And whatnot or whatever with your little earthquakes and stuff like that, little trailblazer. That's been your reading, Aries. I'm going over to Vimeo. You know what I'm saying? So if you're about that life, follow me over there. If not, I still love your freaking face. And I will see you guys sooner than later. For my group 1 people, feel that energetically, any stagnation or darkness, sadness, or isolation that you guys are feeling now, or if you're just kind of feeling like alone. Now for my group 2 people, we have a need to be present. Because I feel that my group 2 people are very much fixated on the past, and you could also be very fixated on the future. So talking about foresight and hindsight, but not being present. Now with my group 3 people, so it's like a grief and loss situation. But with you guys, it's still a sense of stagnation as well here, because like I said, for group 2, with it being, they could either be too focused on the future, like thinking the acquisition of things or stuff or some future time and place or another situation other than the past or the present, or, things that have gone awry in the past, how it could be either or. For my group 3 people, I feel that it's a lot of hindsight, and hindsight bias specifically. I feel it's a lot of ruminating and a manifestation of the 5 of Pentacles energy / the 5 of Cups energy, and that being rooted in the fact of one being chained to and stuck in their past.